What's up, Internet? This is Andrew from Node Island. Today we are going to be taking a look at the ramp operator and the lookup operator. These are two really fun operators that you can do a lot with. Especially in the beginning, I think it's great to develop an understanding about these two things. This also introduces the idea of a lookup table, which is a very important concept to understand. Essentially, what a lookup table does is it uses one set of numbers to look up another set of numbers. So you can think about it kind of like an Excel spreadsheet. If you are at cell 1, instead of returning a 1, you return whatever data is held in that cell. So if it's 10, you're returning a 10. So when you give it a 1, you get back a 10. This does the exact same thing, but with colors. So if you give it white, it might give you blue, or if you give it black, it might give you red. When we combine ramps and lookups, we can create a lot of really interesting, weird scrolling effects, like things that are scrolling on top of one another. We can also use it to make traces. If we draw a gradient along a line, you can make LED pre-visualizations and things like that. It's a really fun thing to explore, especially when you're first getting into TouchDesigner. So let's take a look. All right, this is kind of what I'm talking about here. We have a few ramps that are moving around slowly, and we can adjust them and make some different types of shapes, right? But what I want you to notice is that we have like scrolling on top of other things. Okay, it's really cool. So let's get into it. First thing that we want to do is start out with a ramp. I'm going to make a new one by hitting tab and typing ramp and pressing enter. We want to go into the common tab and type 1000 by 1000 for our resolution. And we can take this and just copy and paste it here. The next thing that we want to do is to get a lookup top and plug our first ramp into the top input and our second ramp into the bottom input. Now, the top ramp is the table of information, and the bottom ramp is going to be what that table is returning. So the way that this works, we can introduce a little bit of color. I'm going to take our left pixels on the bottom ramp and make them red, and the top pixels, the right-hand pixels, and make them blue. And what you'll notice is that when we give the lookup a black pixel, it returns whatever the leftmost color is of our second ramp. So black right now is mapping to red and white is mapping to blue. And we can change the shape of this ramp. So if we were to make it radial, if we were to make it radial, we'll see that black is still mapping to the left-hand side, which is red, and white is still mapping to the right-hand side, okay? When we start to animate all of these and then use lookups to look up other lookups, we can start to make some really exciting, interesting things, okay? One thing to note is that in general, whenever you're using tables of information as data, whenever you're using pictures as data, we want to select 32-bit float, and that will make everything much smoother. So let's add a little bit of animation here. I'm going to use the abs time.seconds times 0.01, just so this is scrolling a little bit. I'm also going to increase the period here so that it's moving. I'll get a null. Oops. Get a null at the end here so that we can see what we're doing on the back. All right. For this, we're going to go abs time.seconds times negative 0.01, and we should see some things that are not particularly interesting. Let's try adjusting this a little bit more. Let's see if we can get something nice. There we go. All right. So Well, notice that now that this is no longer a full ramp, I adjusted the period to 0.75. We're starting to get this scrolling on top of another scroll, which can be very cool. I'm going to add another lookup and another ramp. We're going to use the first lookup as the color information, and then we're going to look at the ramp as our lookup information, our data. You can see here that we have some of this banding, right? This banding. If we make sure that this is set to 32-bit float, then all of that will go away. All right, so here, let's try like a radial, and we can add abs time.seconds to that as well. Times 0.2 or 0.4, 0.04, maybe that looks good. So now we have a radial thing, which is kind of scrolling on top of itself. Right. All right, let's see what else we can do. Maybe instead of a radial, we do circular. This starts to look pretty nice. We can also add color using another lookup table, which is its intended purpose here. So we're going to get another ramp. We're going to plug the output of the circle into the top input here. Get something really wild. And then our last ramp we're going to put into the bottom here. And let's just add some colors. Very nice. We can also scroll the colors by doing abs time.seconds times 0.2. Maybe we want to go in the negative direction. So let's go negative 0.2. And now we are starting to get some more interesting results. Make sure that this is set to 1000 by 1000. Our pixel is set to 32-bit float. All right, very nice. So from here, nice place to begin to experiment is to start compositing things together. So I'm going to get a circular, now let's do a radial ramp. So we have something like this. If we add composite, we can hook up our radial and our circular ramp. Let's see what that looks like. It's starting to look kind of fun. We can adjust our blending modes to create different types of effects. So subtract can be fun, or let's see, exclude can also be fun. Can also be nice to take multiple composites here and then composite two composites together, right? And see what we get like that. Maybe we can bring this in and see what that does. All right. Beautiful. Anyway, it's like a very, very, very nice thing to play around with, especially right as you're getting into Touch Designer. It's extremely satisfying, and there's just such a rich environment to play around in. I really suggest everybody give it a shot because it's just there's so much in here, and it can be really, really, really fun and exciting to play around with. So the recording of my face stopped, so I'll just keep that over there. Hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and make sure to stay tuned for the next one. Thank you.